All right, guys, so this is the second set of notes that we took last week. The title is Greece 1, Government Options. So if you don't remember how to set up your notes, this is how you do it. Do a line about 3 lines down, draw it across, draw a line going down 1/3 of the page, put the title up at the top, and then heading in the corner. This is what it looks like. There's the title, Greece number 1, Government Options, your name, date, period. Central question under the title. And we have all the notes in the larger section and the questions I want you to answer and draw and all that kind of stuff in the shorter, smaller section. Remember, anything in yellow you want to put in your own words, use symbols and abbreviations and all that. And anything in red is usually a definition, so make sure you write it in exactly how it looks. And then anything in green is anything you don't have to write down. We started off, we made a bunch of decisions as a class, and I asked you, how should we decide what to do? A lot of people said we should vote, we should do a poll, that kind of thing, which is fine. And so we're going to do a bunch of decisions, and we're going to go through how the Greeks did it and see which one would be the best for us. Our essential question today is, how did the rights we have today slowly develop throughout history? So we'll see how we have the rights that we have in this country based on what Greece had. And this is my government video. You probably won't be able to hear it, but that's okay. All right. I'm not going to do the videos just because you probably won't be able to hear them, but they are on YouTube. Just Google search what is a city-state. So early on, about 300 years after the Mycenaeans, who we talked about, took over by the Minoans and all that kind of stuff, the warrior-type people, they set up their first type of government, which was with city-states. And what a city-state really is a city that was really a mini country. Meaning they have their own sets of laws, they have their own ruler, they have their own culture, they have their own government, and they don't have to do or follow any other city's rules or ruler or anything like that. So they're really their own mini country. And we have one modern one nowadays, and it's called Vatican City. They are a city within the city of Rome. And they have their own laws, they have their own army, they have their own culture, they have their own everything. They don't have to follow any of the ones that the city of Rome has. So that's what I mean about a city-state. And these were all very different, like Athens and Sparta and Corinth and all different kinds. And most of the time, they actually did play. But you probably won't be able to hear it, so we'll just kind of keep going. These city-states were built around a strong fortress that was usually on a high hill called an Acropolis. This is a picture of the Acropolis in Athens. You can see all the buildings on there. There were theaters, there were temples, there were banks, there were everything. And that's where everybody kind of went to assemble, to talk about stuff, to worship, all different kinds of things. Usually these city-states started off with one ruler making all of the laws, all of the stuff, and it was called a monarchy. And again, like I said, city-states were very different, with very different laws, different governments, different everything. And our example is the Vatican City that I talked about earlier. So our first little brain snack here. Sorry that the guy doesn't come out. I tried to fix it. It doesn't work. Excuse me. On Google Slides as I wanted to. So this is a simulation. It's called Simit. We'll simulate a monarchy. So again, monarchy, all decisions are made by one person, one ruler, a king, usually. So all of these decisions, if we went and voted, it wouldn't matter, because if I was the one in charge, I would pick whatever one I like to get. Right? So, for example, if we were discussing what movie we should watch next, and a bunch of people were like, oh, I want Star Wars. And I was like, I don't want to watch Star Wars. I'd rather watch The Little Mermaid. We would watch The Little Mermaid because I'm the king in charge. Similar type of thing. What type of hair should we all have? I would say probably long, and most people would say short, even though when we did this in class, it was like half and half. Same kind of thing if we were talking about the love letter. Which one should we study next? Most people wanted math, so I said love letters. So that kind of thing. If we should have more homework, I said yes. Obviously, most people said no. And then who should get the points? I would say girls, and most people, well, actually, it was half and half of girls and boys. So you see, this type of government, monarchy, if I was in charge, which in class I was, I got to choose all of the decisions, and I didn't care if you liked it or not. So obviously, the system was probably not as fair as others. Usually, kings ruled for a very long time until people got fed up with what they were choosing and how they were choosing it and things like that. So a group of rich landowners decided to take over, at least in Athens and in Sparta and those kind of places, and they took over and they started a new type of government called an oligarchy. And we're not going to watch the video. You can Google search what is an YouTube search what is an oligarchy, and it should come up. Here's what an oligarchy is. An oligarchy is a government in which only a few people decide all of the decisions. So it's kind of like if we were watching The Simpsons, the family of The Simpsons would be deciding what the next episode would be, how much money they're going to spend, what the writing looks like, all that kind of stuff. While all of the other people in Springfield will just have to deal with it. So all the decisions would be made by a set group of rich people usually, as opposed to one person, which was the monarchy. So we did this in class. I called out a few people to make decisions for us, about 3 or 4 people, and they all decided the same decisions, whether or not you liked it. Some people started to be like, oh, this isn't fair, and it's really not fair, because an oligarchy is a type of government where only the minority are heard and not the majority, meaning most people don't get heard if only a few people are in charge. So obviously many people did not like the oligarchy and overthrew it, creating a tyranny. A tyranny is when a tyrant, a person who has an army, takes over using force. It's not anything crazy. It's not bad, or at least wasn't back then. And they would usually, a tyrant would rule for the people, meaning they would get all of the votes in, and they would say, okay, we're going to do what the people wanted. Now, obviously, did this happen all the time? No, but for the majority of the time, it really did. And they lasted for a very, very long time. Until this guy, Cleisthenes, took over as one of these tyrants. And he created, instead of like doing what the people wanted, he was like, well, I don't really want to make decisions. So I'm going to create a constitution, which we have a constitution, which outlines all the rights and rules and everything that we have in this country. And he created a new type of government called a democracy. And this is in Athens. A democracy is a type of government in which every citizen has a right to vote, and it gets a say in judgments, sentencing people to death, laws, money, all that kind of stuff. So it's, again, if we go back to The Simpsons, it's like every single Simpsons character being able to vote on everything to make the show, instead of just one family. Now, it sounds great in practice, and it really is. We really have a republic or representative government, representative democracy, meaning we vote people in order to make, so they can make those decisions for us, meaning they're going to make the laws, they're going to be judges, they're going to be all that kind of stuff, and we don't, all we have to do is vote them in so they take care of that stuff. That is why voting is important, so that we get the right people in there, as opposed to people that you don't like. Now, democracy is for the majority, right? So we would vote on this. We did this in class, and whoever got the most votes is what we went with the same questions. And yes, it is more fair, meaning everybody gets a say, but it's not super fair, because the people that, if you're not in the majority, like if you're not one of the people that wants to watch Star Wars, like, you're not probably going to win because most people want to watch that as opposed to Little Mermaid. So that's not fair for everybody, but at least you get a say in what is going on, right? So those are the systems of government that we got to choose from. So I asked a couple of conclusions. Which one of these governments had the best method for making decisions? Most people said democracy because everybody got a say. And I asked if there was a different way of making decisions, if it would be more fair for everyone. Not really anybody had a really better situation. Ooh, excuse me. But most people thought democracy was fine. And then I had you guys draw, like, match which one was which. Democracy obviously was where everybody got to vote. Monarchy is where one person makes all the decisions, and oligarchy is where many people or a group of people make decisions. And that is it. So hopefully this was helpful to you. Remember, there will be a map quiz on Greece on Tuesday or Wednesday when we come back to school, whenever you are in school. Okay?